winter break is a great time for 11th graders to prep for college. Now, they might not want to prep for college. And they'll say, no, Mom, Dad, I don't need to prep for college right now. I'm only in 11th grade. Leave me alone. It's the holidays. Merry Christmas. Well, hey, you got to plan ahead, right? You always have to look ahead, and you're 11th grader. You want them to go to college in most cases. And so now's a great time to prep for those standardized tests. And that's why we got our friend David Blobom with us here on the Action News 5 digital desk. Let me get the right screen up, David, and make sure that you and I are there on the two-shot. You are upgraded here. I see you got a mic. You got a mic screen. You are big time. I knew you way back when. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So let's talk about it here, because I guess the best time to get your kid ahead when it comes to the ACT, when it comes to the SAT, is something like a holiday break, right?
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. So I actually got the idea to look into it from Malcolm Gladwell's data in Outliers. So in his book Outliers, he talks about the wealth and education gap in the United States. And he talks about the largest determinant of the wealth and education gap is not difference in school quality. It's actually how students spend their breaks. So during school, basically all students just keep going up, keep learning at about the same rate. It's just during breaks, the wealthy keep learning more, and everyone else kind of just doesn't learn more or even regresses. So the takeaway for all students is keep learning during your breaks. For most students, the easiest way to do that is just go to your local library, get some great books, and read, because reading is the most important skill for getting ahead in school, because a skill at reading impacts a student's performance on all subjects. But how that relates specifically to juniors this year is the best time to study is for the SAT or ACT also is on breaks. And it's a great thing to study because you're learning rhetorical skills, grammar skills, mathematics, reading comprehension. So it can help students in high school, in college, in life to learn those skills, also help them on the SAT and ACT, and to get into college and get more scholarships for college. So students can start prepping now for that February ACT. No pressure. They can even delete ACT scores at any time if they don't like their result, but that's easier than trying to prep at the end of the year during May and June when their AP exams and finals are.
Okay, and so right now, SAT, ACT, I mean, you can take them for the February month, and I guess now is the time to really kind of ramp up for that. And I know, based upon our previous conversations, I mean, you are a big proponent of, hey, take the test as many times as you can just to kind of get into the familiarity of taking that entire test, because the more you do it, the better you'll get, right?
Absolutely. So what a lot of families don't know is that most colleges in the U.S. use what's called a Common App. So that's just some centralized app that you input all your information into, and it goes out to all the colleges. On the Common App, you can only put in your highest verbal score ever and your highest math score ever from the SAT. And same thing for the ACT, only your highest English, math, reading, or science scores. So for the vast majority of schools in the country, you can only show them your highest scores anyway. So you can keep taking the test multiple times and even just work your scores up in each individual section. Again, just to be able to highlight your skills and all your hard work to colleges to help you get you in.
You know, David, there's a question that keeps on coming up more and more, because I've had two kids that have gone through this process, and I have a high school senior who's already made his selection. And I keep on getting the question, well, you know, the SAT and the ACT, they're not required by most colleges anymore. And if I don't have a good test, then I should not send it to my prospective colleges. What's considered a good test, and is that still a rule of thumb that you agree with?
Fantastic question, and the question that everyone's trying to ask, and there's so much confusion around this because of that. So The general rule of advice, though it does matter based on the student, the high school that they're coming from, and the college that they're applying to. But the general rule of advice is you can look up a school's median SAT or ACT score, and they'll give you the 50 percentile range. So let's say the 50 percentile range is a 26 to a 30. That means the middle 50% got that score. If you're at the bottom of that middle 50%, so the 26 in this case, or anything above, submit your score. So that means only don't submit your score if you're below that 26, below their 25th percentile. And even in some instances, you still might want to do that. Like if you're from some unknown school applying to a top school, they still might want to submit you, and at least a half decent SAT or ACT score can help get their attention.
Interesting. I like that insight a lot. Let's see, what else can we talk about with regards to the holidays, how people should get started when it comes to, prepping for the next exam, the SAT or the ACT? I know a big question is, well, which one should I start testing for? Should I start testing for the ACT or the SAT?
Fantastic. So what I would do if I was in a student's shoes right now is I would Google official SAT practice test, official ACT practice test. Make sure they're the official exams. Download a past official test from the College Board website. Download an official past ACT from either the ACT website, or you can get the ACT study guide that has 5 official tests. Make sure to start with an official test of each, then compare your scores. See which one you do better on, and then just go in that direction. Coming up, there's the March, May, and June SATs. For the ACT, there's the upcoming February, April, June, July ACTs. There's also free prep online from Khan Academy for the SAT, or through the ACT, there's free prep for 20% of students, because 20% of students are on fee waivers. So you can likely get free prep for the SAT or ACT, or buy a prep book, or enroll in a class, or get a private tutor. So there's any way that you learn best, there's resources to help you.
Fantastic. Okay, anything else you want to mention to our audience before we let you go, David?
I would just reiterate that test optional really means that you have the option to apply without test scores and still be considered, but it doesn't mean it's an equal option. So quick example would be Stanford. When you look up Stanford's common data set answers, so you can literally just Google common data set Stanford or any college that you want, they'll tell you what admissions criteria they use in their admissions decisions. Even though they're test optional, they list standardized test scores as very important for their admissions decisions. That's the same weight that they put on a student's GPA. So they're test optional, it's an option, not an equal option. So students can also check a common data set for that school to see, do they actually still care about test scores, even if they're test optional.
David Blobaum, Director of Outreach, National Test Prep Association. You always bring it each and every time we talk. Thank you so much. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays.